Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's June 10th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented as always by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, we got a lot to cover here today, so I'll get right to it. Recruiting. We're now getting deep into the month of June. We've been speaking for over a week now about how critical recruiting was going to become in this month, and it's certainly shaping up that way. The Mario Cristobal camps were rained out last weekend. They're hoping for a better fate this weekend. Official visits in store for this weekend, more of them. But first, let me talk about an official visitor that came back for more. And we talked about how this could happen with his family from Finland staying in South Florida for the entire week before they head to Alabama today. And that, of course, is offensive lineman Olaus who returned with his parents on Thursday for yet another visit to the U. A clear sign of how interested they are in Miami. And Matt, are we reading too much into this? Obviously, I tend to be optimistic about these types of things, and you tend to be pessimistic, but I don't think I'm reading too much into this one. Olaus definitely seems to have an affection for the Hurricanes.
Oh yeah, I did my research for this story. Olaus told me he spent the week at the beach after the official visit. He's been here all week before he goes to Alabama. Him and his family, they're from Finland. His parents flew in from Finland, and I did my research. 45.5 degrees is the average yearly temperature where he's from, so I could see why he told me he was working out on the beach. I looked at Finland's main exports. It's electronics, forestry, machinery, and offensive linemen. So Miami's right in line with that. But yeah, he loved his visit here. He is leaving for Alabama today. He's got other visits to Ohio State and Georgia. He's not ruling out a fifth visit. He wants to decide before his season. And I just don't think that this Miami visit could have gone any better. I mean, it's one thing to have a great visit, and it's another thing to commit somewhere. So I would rather this was his last visit before he announces, because every other school that he's going to visit has been following all the media hoopla about him in Miami and how much he loved it, and they're all going to be negative recruiting Miami. Here's why you shouldn't go to Miami. This is blah 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 about Miami. You're from Finland. It's going to be 100 degrees there in the summer. Up here it's 50 degrees. Whatever. I don't know what they're going to find. We have a great we also export forestry and transportation equipment just like Finland. I don't know what they're going to make up, but they'll find something to make it sound like he should go there instead of here. And there's no doubt about it. Now, the question is, sort of where this will go in a month plus. Miami coaches do not give up. I was talking to, one recruit who we have a story on today who said that, and he's taking an official visit this weekend. He said Miami's recruiting him the hardest of anybody, which you don't usually hear recruits say because they don't really want to throw another school under the bus. And he's not doing that. He's saying every school's recruiting him super hard, but Miami's like insane. Like Miami, every coach, every day, multiple times, constant contact. He likes it. Miami coaches know which recruits like that and which don't. For me, I'd be like, don't ever contact me. I am blocking, I'd be Jaleel Florencing everybody.
Leave me alone. My phone's on do not disturb. Yeah.
They'd all be blocked 100%. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'll just make my decision, man. You want me? Let me just figure it out. I don't need to talk to anybody. I got my own problems without having people tell me how great I am. I know how bad I am. Listen, I know how bad I am. All my haters out there on the message board world and in YouTube world, I got a message for you guys. I love you all. No, I hate you all. I really do. I hate you all tremendously. No, I listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I get that some people don't like what I say. I understand it. I get that I have an annoying personality sometimes. Like, whatever, man. Like, if you don't like it, just fast forward to where you see Gary's mouth. If you see Gary's mouth moving, just fast forward on the little screen on YouTube to where you see his mouth moving. My mouth starts to move. Fast forward past that back to where Gary's mouth starts moving. It's like not rocket science.
Well, admitting things to oneself is often the path to greatness in the future.
Not in this case, because I'm not changing. Usually you admit it and then you change. I admit it and I say the same. I don't care. I'm too old to change, man. It's over.
All right. Well, so Olaus Allen, and he's on campus Thursday for 6 hours. Shows up at 7 a.m., stays till 1 p.m., sat in on meetings with Alex Mirabal, with the offensive line. It was almost like another official visit, okay? And I got to think that pays dividends. Now he goes to Alabama. And another hidden thing is Mario Cristobal knows what he's going to find when he gets to Alabama. And so Miami knows how to deal with that before he even makes the trip. And look, maybe I'm being overly optimistic on this one. I hope I'm not, because I think this is a really good offensive line prospect. And I personally think there's a great chance that he lands in the class. We'll see what happens with that one. All right. So Matt, a ton of action going to be taking place this weekend with the 7-on-7 tournament on campus, the Mario Cristobal offensive line, defensive line camp, plus a set of official visitors. So let's take a moment right now and talk about those guys. I'll just go in alphabetical order. Let's start with tight end Jackson Carver, Matt. He's been offered since April. He was here for the spring game. Now he's coming back for his first official visit. He's also set up a visit to Iowa, okay, which should be a manageable foe. Alabama's been flirting with him. Alabama has not offered him yet. So this is another one that you have to think Miami, Matt, is in the middle of.
Yeah, and before we get into that a little bit, let's just, you mentioned the 7-on-7. So just so you guys know, some of the teams that'll be out here on Saturday, 7-on-7, and some are going to be, there's a Las Vegas tournament. Some will be here, some won't. But Miami Edison is scheduled to be here with their 7-on-7 team, American Heritage, St. Thomas, Miami Killian, even Orlando Dr. Phillips, Miami Northwestern, Orlando Jones, Miami Columbus, Miami Pace, Booker T. And those are the schools that are coming that have at least some guys with decent offers, And there's a bunch of other schools who maybe someone will get an offer from those schools too. But as of right now, the other schools coming, you wouldn't really say, okay, that's a program that's going to have a lot of guys that Miami's super interested in. But to your point, talking about Jackson Carver, it's real. The tight end situation is very interesting, okay, because they're really honing in on Jackson, Reed McKeska, and Riley Williams. Those are the three guys that are tight ends that are officially visiting this month. There's another guy we wrote about yesterday, Dylan Wade, who's sort of, he lists a Miami offer. I mean, he got a Miami offer, but he's a let's face it, he's a back burner guy right now. They're waiting to see what these other three guys do. It's going to be really interesting because this is going to really test Stephen Field. Stephen Field has passed every test in terms of recruiting tight ends. I mean, he got anyone who gets Jaleel Skinner away from Alabama on signing day, or a little after signing day in this case. Like you're never going to say, okay, this guy can't recruit. I mean, Stephen Field's a great recruiter, but maybe this is his toughest challenge because these are top recruits that everyone wants, and it's very easy to say to them, they have Jaleel Skinner. Just read these stories from his spring about Jaleel Skinner. They think he's going to be the next Superman, and he's only a true freshman. Look at these stories on Elijah Arroyo. Look from last season, he flashed. Look at this spring. People think he's going to be amazing. He's in his second year. You're going to go there? Come here. You could play right away. That's what Stephen Field has to battle against. He got Jaleel Skinner here. Now it's the next. I'm sure he's got a way to word it to these guys how they'll fit in.
Mallory's on the way out. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's why I'm not mentioning Will.
Skinner is going to be 3 and done most likely.
Yeah, so he has to sit. So the tight end has to come in and sit maybe 2 years, whatever. Nobody wants to do that, or
not at all. They're going to play 3 tight ends this year.
That's what I was about to say. If you let me talk, my guess is Stephen Field is telling these receivers, these tight ends, we have receivers that maybe aren't that great, and we're going to be using 2 and 3 tight ends all the time. I mean, that's a selling point, and he's not wrong. So,
You done? Anyway. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, that's it. So we're talking about Jackson Carver. So yeah, Jackson Carver. I'm getting my morning text here. Jackson Carver, I don't think has as great a chance with Miami as Reed McKeska. Just sort of talking to some.
I would agree with that.
Talking to them and some guys around them. They're both great prospects. But they have to get on these visits, and we have to see. You know, Carver has Auburn, South Carolina, still in his picture. He's going to Alabama camp for getting an offer there. Setting up an LSU visit. So, Iowa official visit. So he's got a lot of schools that he's still looking at. And, we're going to see what happens.
All right. Next up on the list is, I'm just going to be honest here. I'm biased about this guy. This guy's my favorite recruit in the class right now, just because of how great of a player I believe he is going to be. And that is David Hicks Jr. From Petro High School in Katy, Texas. Everybody in the country wants him. This is going to be his second official visit. He's already gone to Michigan State, has taken summer trips to Texas A&M, Oklahoma. He goes to Oregon next weekend. Alabama is pushing hard for David Hicks Jr. But I think Miami's in the middle of this one too. And the reason I say that is I remember his visit to the Manny Diaz camp last year, and I got to spend a lot of time with his dad, and I believe he had one of his coaches was with them at that point. And I just got the impression they really like Miami. And from a performance standpoint, David Hicks is absolutely off the charts. I mean, just an incredible defensive end prospect. Matt, am I overselling this one?
I don't think so, because this is a different situation than it's almost the opposite of tight end, right? Where the tight end probably has to sit at least a couple of years, unless they're just that much better somehow than Elijah Arroyo and Jaleel Skinner, who I think are going to be elite tight ends. David Hicks, you can tell him, look, man, we got a bunch of transfers that came in that are going to be going to the NFL. It's wide open. You come in, you're going to probably start, certainly play year one, have a very good chance to start. How many other schools that he's looking at can you say that? I mean, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Oregon, Alabama. I haven't studied all those programs in detail, but I'm guessing they probably have some defensive line returners that would be in line, whereas Miami really just has nothing that I would say is so great. That'll be back after this year. I mean, I think every transfer that comes in is probably going to be a starter other than maybe a defensive tackle or two. Certainly, the end starters will be transfers. So there's a great chance to sell David Hicks. The big question mark here is NIL, because he's a 5-star. He's going to have schools illegally saying, listen, you come here, we got a guy who's going to be this much money. It's just going to happen. I mean, I'm sorry if people get upset when I say that.
I think David Hicks will know there's plenty of NIL at Miami waiting for him.
All I'm pointing out is that's going to be a factor. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Miami wouldn't illegally do the same thing, Gary, which you keep.
No, absolutely
you seem to keep saying that Miami's going to illegally do things. So who am I to disagree with you?
He'll know the NIL is going to be here if he comes here, and he'll know that there's a circle around his name, and that's all they got to know. Okay. Yeah. And
listen, I think if
John Ruiz is already on record. Just so you know, John Ruiz, I'll bring this up again, is already on record as saying he's not engaging in bidding wars. So if is that reality, not reality, I don't know. The new collective has not formed yet. I keep hearing it's in progress, but nobody can tell me who's in charge of it or anything yet. So I don't know how close it is, but it's supposed to be getting closer. So, we'll see what happens. But I think there's ways for kids to know that the NIL will be there without breaking the rules. Okay.
First of all, bidding wars are obviously illegal until a student's enrolled. But I think all things being equal, if there was no NIL, I would think David Hicks would have a better than 50-50 chance of being a Hurricane. That's my opinion. I think NIL just throws everything into total disarray with 5 stars. That's all I'm trying to say.
Hi, I'm Nigel Pack. And when I decided to come to Miami, I knew I had to pack, including my life wallet. But you know what else I'm going to pack this upcoming season? I'm going to pack the house. But today, I'm going to stand here and make another trade.
The feed to Pack. He throws another. Give it to him. His third from the corner pocket. When he was persistent. Nigel Pack again.
Never leave your home without your life wallet. Saving time, saving lives.
All right, then the next visitor I'll talk about is Bai Jobe, defensive end from Norman, Oklahoma. Man, I know he supposedly likes Miami and has all these other schools that are recruiting him. I have a hard time picturing Bai Jobe getting away from the Sooners.
Yeah, and I think it's actually unofficial to Miami. I mean, He's a little bit of a project. One of these, you got to put on a lot of weight and strength and all this other stuff. Look, I mean, obviously Miami would take him if he wants to come, but I'm not sure I'm not sure how high he is on their board compared to some other guys. So we'll see. I don't think he winds up here, but he is a 4-star. He is a defensive end position of need, and maybe he'll have a great visit and decide, hey, why not? So believe it or not, I actually think there's a better chance with David Hicks than with By Job, even though obviously David Hicks is a much higher level recruit.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. All right, next one I think is really important. He's another offensive lineman, but he plays center, which is huge, and that's Connor Lew from Kennesaw, Georgia. So he'll be official visiting this weekend. Has been offered by Miami since December 24th, which is saying a lot for a 3-star kid. That means Mario Cristobal, Alex Mirabal identified him early. He's already taken an official visit to Clemson. He's going to visit Georgia. He's also setting up an official visit to Auburn. Okay, so you look at that list, and you could just throw away the fact that he's a 3-star. You know that the colleges are projecting him to be better than that. And another big opportunity for the Hurricanes to impress him this weekend. Matt, your opinion on where things stand with Mr. Connor Lew?
I don't think he winds up here, but I do think I think Madden Sanker and Jonathan Klein will be the center / offensive guard in this class that'll still yet to come. I'm just not feeling it from Connor Lew. I did talk to him for a while, and he's a really nice guy. But I just get the sense, Clemson and Georgia and Auburn. I don't know. We're gonna have to see how the visit goes. This is one of those kids where I'd love to say yes or no. But until he really takes a visit and we get a sense from him and people around him what actually happened on the visit, I mean, he could have the greatest visit of all time and be like, wow, I've never had as much fun as hanging out on the beach and being around these players and coaches. This is unbelievable. I don't know. But all things being equal, if he has as good a visit here as he does at Clemson and Auburn, and Georgia, if they're all the same level visit and he feels the same level of comfortability to all of them, he's not coming here. So Miami has to be better than everyone else. Not that they can't be. They certainly can be. And they probably have to be quite a bit better than everyone else to wind up with Connor. That's just my opinion. All the haters out there hate away, but I'm not going to just lie and say everyone's coming like some people on this Good Morning CaneSport show.
Oh, my God. I've agreed with you on the ones that we don't think is coming. That's a low blow. That is not accurate. I have no problem saying I don't think somebody's coming to Miami.
Yeah, but you tend to say for the 50-50 guys you think they're coming. Olaus Alinen you think's coming. He's a 50-50 at best.
I believe it's better than that. We'll see.
I know you do, but I'm just telling you. I mean, he hasn't taken his other visits.
I'm not saying it definitively. Like, I wouldn't go to a sports book and make a bet on it at this point. But I just feel good about that particular recruitment. Another one, Matt, eat your heart out, that I feel good about is our next guy, and that's Reed McKeska. He is a 6'6", 233-pound tight end from Bridgeland, Cypress, Texas, and was once committed to Clemson. Miami has been pushing really hard ever since he opened it up. And we're told that this is now a Miami, Oklahoma, Florida battle for Reed McKeska. I like the Canes' chances here, Matt. If he has a good visit this weekend, your thoughts?
And Jackson State, who I never like it when a student athletes mention Jackson State, because who the hell knows what goes on with that stuff. And also South Carolina are in it. But yeah, I think, like I said with the last prospect, if every visit's the same for Reed McKeska, if he likes Miami as much as Oklahoma, as much as Florida, then I think it comes down to Miami and Oklahoma, and I think Miami has a good chance of winning out with him. But if he has a better time here than he does at Oklahoma, then I think he'll be a Hurricane. So it really hinges on this visit. He's you have to remember where some of these student athletes are from. Bridgeland, Texas is, I don't think, a massive community. It's
no, but it is within reasonable proximity of Oklahoma. Oklahoma has to be considered a factor.
Right, that's part of the problem. And when you're in sort of a smaller area that you've always lived in, it's Bridgeland, I think, is a weird place. There's like 400 homes in 6 neighborhoods. There's something weird there. It's like on a lake. It's sort of a quieter, I believe it's a quieter family type place.
Is that anywhere near Houston College Station? I'll take a little detour in September when I go out there for the game and
Yeah, I
check
don't
it
know if you
out.
want to go there. But my point is, it's a family place. It's not. You're not going to go party there, Gary. But my point is, some of these student athletes, when they say,
Maybe
"I want
Reed's mom invites me for dinner or something.
great, that would be an NCAA violation.
Maybe I can go have a few pops on the back porch with his dad. Like, you don't know.
That would be a pork chop violation. That's against
Like
the
you would
rules.
say, man, you don't know, man. You don't know.
Anyway, I don't want the NCAA investigating us for pork chop violations at Reed
We're
McKesson.
allowed. I'm allowed to go to the McKeska home and have a drink or two and have some dinner.
Okay, listen.
There's no
I'm gonna
violations. We
I'm
don't
gonna tell
fall
Reed-
under those guidelines of the NCAA.
I'm going to tell Reed to Jaleel Florence you now, okay? That way there's no problems. So what I was trying to get at is when you read a story that we write and somebody says, I'm looking for the place where I feel most comfortable, a lot of times if they're raised in a country atmosphere versus city atmosphere or vice versa, they just tend to feel more comfortable in those type of scenarios. So when he gets down here and he gets out in South Beach and he gets out in Coconut Grove, and that's where I hang out, and if he gets out, in Midtown, wherever he goes, it's going to be different than where he was born and raised, much different. So some people say, wow, this is great. I want to experience this. And others say, I don't feel real comfortable. This is something I've never seen before. So a lot's going to come down to that. Because let's face it, there's some slight differences between Oklahoma and Miami when it comes to things you can do out and about around town. And some student athletes like one versus the other. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know Miami fans will say, who would want to be in Oklahoma? But let's face it, I mean, Norman, Oklahoma, they have pretty good steak. They don't have stone crabs.
Oh.
If you like stone crabs, you come to Miami. You like steak, you go to Norman. I don't know.
No, you probably never been to Norman.
I have not.
If you'd been there, you wouldn't be speaking in glowing terms. I mean, if you like that kind of thing, I guess it's fine, but not much to Norman, Oklahoma.
Well,
All right,
that's where the National Weather Center is based.
Is it really? Yeah, that's a new fact that I didn't know. All right, next up on the list is Sydir Mitchell. He is a mammoth defensive tackle from Bergen Catholic in Oradell, New Jersey. Matt, people want him because of his pure size and strength. Georgia is in the mix. Texas A&M is in the mix. Miami's trying to hang in there with those guys. Your thoughts on the recruitment of Sydir Mitchell?
Listen, you people out there that watch this show, I don't make stuff up. I've tried to reach out to him numerous times. I know I have his correct information to reach to him. He just doesn't seem interested in talking to Miami people, I guess, at least reporters. I don't know if he's just, some of these people don't love to talk to reporters in general, which is fine. So I'm not going to just sit here and say, oh, I think there's a good shot or a bad shot. I have no idea with Sydir Mitchell. I have no idea.
Well, but you know what the racing form says in those situations.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll talk to some sources, around the program and around him, hopefully after it's over, and try to figure out what the heck's going on with this kid. I think he winds up at Georgia. So maybe Miami can make up some ground. We'll see.
All right, and the last official visitor this weekend is Antonio Tripp. He's been a Miami commit for a few months now. He's been actively recruiting for Miami. Matt, I don't think there's any doubt where Antonio Tripp stands. He'll be an extra recruiter in the building this weekend.
Yeah, listen, Miami coaches know what they're doing, but I almost wish Antonio Tripp was coming for Legends Camp weekend, because we just ran through how many kids? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's six official visitors, one unofficial, including Antonio. And yeah, I mean, he can work them over. Like his goal, Antonio Tripp's goal, and he's a great ambassador for the class. People were asking, like, who's the Alonzo Highsmith of this class? I would say that more recently, the DJ Dallas of this class. It's Antonio Tripp. And you want him on that visit with the most high profile, the greatest number of uncommitted prospects, because he is going to work his ass off to make sure. And it's different as a peer versus a coach, right? Convincing somebody why it's so great to be a Miami Hurricane. He is bought in. He loves this program. He's trying to recruit his butt off, but he only gets one official visit. He's from Maryland. He can't just hop over here every weekend and say, hey guys, come to Miami, come hang out with me, whatever, and form bonds. So they're using it this weekend. I guess it is what it is. The final weekend of June is the major visit weekend, which is when I would rather Antonio came. But again, Miami coaches know what they're doing. Maybe this is the only weekend that he could really make it work. I don't know. So great kid, solid commit, love him to death. Talk to him all the time. He loves talking to me, which is, just shows what kind of character he has to be able to put up with me for a nice 20-minute conversation whenever we want to get together and chat. So it's great that he's coming, and I'm sure he'll have a great time. And there was something else I was going to add, but now I can't remember what it was. So whatever.
All right, so that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. A lot going on this weekend. As we said, we'll have coverage of everything throughout the weekend. Thank you for starting your day with us once again. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman, and we'll see you next time, everybody.